Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another prepared video. Just as GSX decides to go absolutely crazy, I have no idea what this guy has done on the ground. But today we find ourselves at London Stansted. Yes, I'm sure you're questioning, what the heck, Chewy? Why are you in an Emirates 777 Sky Cargo at Stansted? What is this madness? Well, I'm doing something a little bit different today. A flight which I'm pretty sure nobody has done on a full flight video before on YouTube. If they have, I will be heavily surprised. So link me if you do know one. But we are going to be taking a short little flight. Short little flight is in about 10.5 hours down to Rio de Janeiro. Of course, the Olympics are on at the second, as I'm sure a lot of you will be watching. And I was actually, I can't remember, it must have been one of the eventing sections. So I was watching one of the cross-country eventing horse sections of the Olympics the other day, and they were showing how they were taking all of the horses to Rio, and a lot of the different countries were actually transporting the cargo from London Stansted. They had a little section, and it was an Emirates Sky Cargo 777, just like the one we're in here. And in this massive main cargo hold section here, exactly where all of this cargo is going in at the second, they were loading in horses. And it wasn't just the British eventing team. They had, I think, Australians and other people there as well. And they were all popping these, you know, very, very prestigious, very, very expensive eventing horses that they were hoping were going to help bring their country medals into a 777 Emirates at London Stansted. So I thought, you know what, let's do something different. Let's mirror the flight. So today we are going from London Stansted, as I've said, all the way down to Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. Apologies about my pronunciations. But here we are on the ground, where we are on gate, or stand 213 even. Lovely weather by the looks of things. Pretty clear in England at the second. I'm not recording this in real time. It's currently about midnight, and I've got things about 12 hours out of sync. So it's just gone midnight my time when I'm recording this, and we've got it at 12 p.m. Zulu, midday kind of thing. So it would be 1 p.m. Local time in Britain. But I thought I would record in the daytime instead of recording at night. So let's get things set up here. Now, before I go any further and start to set up anything, what I want to do first is get our fuel and payload in. So we're going to be quite heavy today. A lot of things coming with these horses. I'm pretending there's going to be lots of gears. So it's going to be a relatively heavy load. And 220.2 is going to be our zero fuel weight. In terms of fuel, it's quite a long flight today. And so we are in six figures. It's 100.615, so a lot of fuel indeed will go into there. 69.1% of the total fuel level. Perfect. So I'll go back onto FS Actions actually and leave ourselves onto the door page because I will need to close that up soon enough. So first off, let's get the ADIRU going. I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not. My sneeze is gone now as soon as I'm saying to myself that I'm going to sneeze. Apologies. And I will arm the emergency exit lights. What else can we do? We can pop the fuel pumps on whilst we're here. I'll pop the center pumps on, and we'll pop the packs on as well. I won't start the APU up quite yet, well, just because you know, we want to save some fuel and everything, and we've got a bit of time to spare. We're in no rush to get out of here. So let's pop the needles up, and we will set our QNH as well. Hopefully that's set it on the other side. Perfect stuff. So that is all good now, and we are in good stead. So the ADRU is aligning. We can see here on the navigation display we've got 18 seconds before it aligns. Yes, I have got it quickly done. So whilst that aligns, we'll go onto the checklist and start things up. So the first thing is that it wants us to check our oxygen, and there we go. Oxygen is tested 100%. Our flight instruments, heading and altimeter. So I can't check the heading at the second because we are not aligned, but it looks like we should be on the altimeter. 1027 set on both sides and 360 feet set on both sides as well. Let me just double check that. Yep, 360 on the first officer side as well, so that's good. And then it also wants us to set our parking brake. Lovely. So that is the pre-flight checklist complete. And as soon as that is done, we are ready to get into the FMC and start to get planning. So let's pop down to the view. There we go. And into the FMC. I'll pop us into the FMC there as well. Right, so pausing it. Today we are at EGSS, otherwise known as London Stansted. We are at gate 213 or stand 213. Let's see if it accepts it. No, it won't, of course. I've been having really good luck with that recently, and then of course when I record a video, it doesn't want to work. So we'll set the inertial position. Hopefully that means the screens will have come to life. Yes, it has indeed. And then route, we can do a route request. I've got quite a lot, so I need to go through these and delete quite a few of them because I've got a lot. There we go, that's what we're looking for. EGSS to SBGL. And we will activate that and wait for that to come through. I'm actually watching the Olympics whilst recording this video. Andy Murray is currently facing Juan Martín del Potro from Argentina in the tennis final, and it's a pretty close match at the second actually. So I'll be watching that as I record this and what's in the air as well. Right, let's load everything in. Route 1 uplink is loading. Good, 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 good. Did I cancel that? Maybe I did. No, I think we're okay. Today we're taking off from runway 04. Is that going to go in? Yep, it will. And we have flight number. Now, I didn't know what flight number this actually operated as, so I've kind of made it up. And we're going as 16RO. And the reason why I've gone for that is because it's the 2016 Olympics. Obviously, UAE is the code for United Arab Emirates, and I think they use the same for their cargo. If not, I'll look like a right fool, but hey-ho. And then RO, I've just gone for like Rio Olympics. So that's what the flight number came up like as. I just thought, yeah, that will do. It was something random. Cool. Activate and execute that. And then we can go into the departures. So we're on 04 today, and our first waypoint is CPT, which if I'm not mistaken is Compton. So it should be the Compton to Sierra departure that we select. And that can get loaded in there like so. Now, it has loaded up our performance initialization. I'm going to stick with the cost index here and kind of leave this stuff to do its own thing, because I found a lot of the times if I start mucking about with cost indexes and stuff, it will be different than what I planned. The only thing that I actually need to change here is that our cruising altitude is 310, not 300. Okay, thrust limits. Let me have a look on my flight plan, which is on the other page. We've got no deraters today, but we have an assumed temperature of 41 degrees, which gives us an N1 of 96.6. Takeoff is actually going to be flaps 15. I'm assuming that's just because we are so heavy. Centre of gravity, we can go into there, 28%, and trim of 5, which gives us a V1 of 161, a VR of 167, and a V2 of 170. Now, actually, I'm going to have to recalculate that again, because I'm just going to put our takeoff gross weight in there, which should be 320.6. So that will delete those. And then we'll also go into the second page, and I'm going to pop our acceleration height 3,000 feet. There we go. Perfect. So that can go into there. Now, we're not quite done yet. We'll go into the legs page on the second FMC, on the first officer's FMC here, and we'll do the winds. So that is all of the leg winds uploaded. Now we'll go into the VNAV page, and transition altitude is 6,000 feet here at Stansted. And where do I need to go now? There we go. Forecast. And we will load the winds for Rio. Cool. I think that's loaded in. I don't think I've missed anything there. That is all good. So the only other thing that I can really do now in the FMC is to have a look and see about step climbs. So it's going to be interesting to see where it wants me to do it. So I'll stay on this legs page here, and we'll carry on through. Now the first one it's telling me will be after Goba, but if you can see here, it's not wanting me to climb for quite a while afterwards. Now I don't know whether it's more accurate with PFPX or with the actual aircraft itself. And so I think I'm actually going to trust it to do its own thing and leave it there. Let me know in the comment section if you know the best way, whether to trust PFPX and kind of overwrite these things, and what you choose for your you know, step climb setting in, where is it? Yeah, in your performance initialization page, because I just usually leave it on step size RVSM and then let the FMC do its own thing. But I'm not 100% sure if that's the best way. You know, I'll be honest. I'm not going to claim to be an expert or anything at this. Right, perfect. So that is them set up, which means now we can set our MCP. So that gives us a V2 speed, which can go in there of 170. We're taking off on 04 today. I'm not too sure of the exact runway heading. Again, something I should have checked beforehand. And I've actually got Navigraph charts. Let's bring them across here for a second and bring them onto the screen, because why not? Here's the... Wow, why is it minusing? Oh, because I've got it on minus. My gosh, Chewy. So we're taking the Compton... Yeah, it is Compton. Compton to Sierra departure today. And so I think we can safely go up to 5,000. I think the initial climb is 3,000, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem for us to set 5,000. We're flying offline today, so it's really not too much of a problem. Yes, I guess I could find out what the runway heading is whilst I'm here. So let's try and have a look through the charts. Where am I even going? Of course, I'm clicking on all of the ones that I don't want to go on to. Why can I not find it? I think it's 4-4. Tell you what, if I have a look at the ILS one, it'll definitely show me that. Yeah, it's 4-4. Apologies about my terrible skills, but that's what we've got already. So we'll set 5,000 into the MCP, and that is all good. Right, let's get the APU going on now, because knowing me, I'll forget to do that if I don't do it soon. And we can also set our auto brake to RTO. Flight directors can come on, and LNAV and VNAV can be armed. Good stuff. So we're not too far away now. We finished fueling, so what I'm going to do is pop the seatbelt signs on, and the APU starting up, and we're not too far away from departure, so the beacon light can come on as well. And then everything up the top is looking good. Now I don't know if I can see the APU coming online. I can't remember which button it is. I think I can see it on the stat page here. Here we go, APU. So we can see the APU starting to come online on the lower ICAS screen. Let's go and have a look outside and see how we're doing. It looks like all of the horses have boarded, and there we go. That's good timing. We've got that little guy there who's just popped all of our prestigious and expensive horses onto the aircraft, moving away. And if we switch to the other view, it looks like we finished boarding at the back as well. So I'll pop us back onto the door page now, and then we can start to close the doors and get ourselves ready to get out of here. And once those have been done, we'll double check that the APU is started and ready to go. And there we go. It's just saying the APU is running on my upper ICAS, so that is all good. And once all the doors are closed, we will we'll do our before start checklist. Arm the front door there, and then we will also get ready for pushback with GSX. Hopefully, they should be able to do it straight away. I'm not too sure what's taking them too long. Right, it's just the main deck cargo now, which is just closed up. Perfect. So let's go back in. We can leave ourselves off the door page now and go back onto the checklist. Okay, so checklist, here we go. MCP. So V2 is 170. Our runway heading is 044, as we eventually found out with the charts. And initial altitude, I'm going with 5,000 feet. Takeoff speeds, our V1 is 161, VR is 167, and V2 is 170. CDU pre-flight is completed. Trim at the minute is still set at 0 because we've not got any hydraulics. And our taxi and takeoff briefing. So, here we go. I'll bring up Avisoft electronic flight bag to show you guys where we are. Here is London Stansted as a whole, and we are right the way over here at stand 213 at the ramp cargo area. So what we'll do is we'll push back. Hopefully we can push back with our nose to the left. If not, we'll just do a straight pushback and carry on Zulu, and then we will taxi down Juliet. Oopsie daisy, where am I going? Let's carry on down here. I think it's because I'm... Oh, that's better now. So we will carry on down Juliet, and then take a right turning here onto Hotel and follow it down to the holding point. So relatively simple enough. And, oh, wait, departure as well. I might as well do the departure brief. Here we go. So here is the Compton to Sierra departure. You can see leading it round there to our first waypoint, which is the Compton VOR. Lovely stuff. Easy, easy, easy peasy. Nothing too crazy about our departure. Hopefully the arrival will be the same. So there is the taxi and takeoff briefing completed, and the beacon light is on now. We turned that on not too long ago. Perfect stuff. Right, the next thing I want to do is put myself on the hydraulics page. Now, I'm not flying on VATSIM, but I'm going to put myself onto Unicom just in case I do go onto VATSIM at any point during this flight. I'm not 100% sure if I will, but yes. Right, ground connections now. All of that can go. Let's turn off the external power first before I disconnect it, I guess. I don't really know if that makes a difference, but I'll do it all the same. And all the wheel chocks and everything have been removed. So we are pretty much ready for pushback. Now, let me see if it's going to give me my pushback. I don't think it is. Let me reset the position on GSX. Darn thing doesn't work as soon as you want it to, of course. Typical. Prepare for pushback and departure. There we go. So it's only telling me that we can do our nose to the right, which I definitely don't want, or straight pushback. So we will do a straight pushback. And whilst that gets ready to push us back, I will pop terrain, airport and traffic information on the first officer's ND and airport and traffic over here. Next thing to do is to start up our hydraulics. So I've got the hydraulic screen on the lower ICAS there, and we can see it starting to come to life. If I move down, you can start to see the figures rising. Once again, we'll start the left elec, and then I'll move back down and let you watch that come up. Perfect. Right, I'll go back up the top now because it's just quicker for me to do it this way. And we'll get all of our hydraulics going. And then we're pretty much there. I'm going to bring the range down on my navigation displays as well. Let's have a look outside. It looks like we're almost ready for pushback. Look at that. What a view. There's absolutely enormous, giant 777 there. It does look awesome. I think it really does. Okie dokie. Departure check completed. Bypass pin is inserted. And we can release the parking brakes. So I'll pop us on the engine page now. And we will do that thing. We will release the parking brakes. We will start the clock, and then we are ready to go. Right, I'll let us push back a bit just to get a tiny bit away from the terminal or the cargo building. And then we can start up the engines. Here we go. So starting number 2. We'll look down at the lower ICAS display for 2%. And we'll pop in the fuel. There is starter cutout. Number 1 is coming online. We'll go back inside now and have a look and make sure that is stable. I'm reading 70% on the N2 display there, so I'm happy that number 2 is stable. Let's start number 1. Waiting for 2% once again, and in with the fuel. Easy stuff. So I know I've been flying this 777 a lot on my full flight videos, but I just enjoy flying it so much, and I was going to do an Airbus video for this one, but I thought, you know what? Screw it. This flight seemed really attractive for me to do with the whole, you know, fictional Rio scenario that I've set up with it, and it was 2 airports that I like flying from, and 2, the Rio scenery in terms of airport isn't the best, but you know it's better than default scenery, and I really like the Stansted airport as well as a whole. It's really good UK 2000 scenery here, so I thought, you know what, why not? So number 1 is starting up, as we can see there, as the tug is removed. Off he goes. Farewell, sirs. Thank you very much. Get out of the way quickly, please. Right, I'm happy that number 1 is stabilized now, so I will select flaps 15. And we will also turn off the APU because that is no longer needed. Now, let's set our trim, which is 5.0, now that we've got our hydraulics. So 4.755, that is done. And then we can see on the upper ICAS display, our flaps are coming down. Just going to take that away, and then what I'm going to do is what I usually do. So I'm going to pop all of the information on the engines, kind of the compacted view on the upper ICAS, like so. That's a bit better now. And then we'll do a flight controls check whilst we are here to make sure everything is good. I'm also going to pop the taxi light on because knowing me, I'll forget if I don't do so. And so we'll go full left, full right, full up, full down, full left, and full right with the rudder. Lovely stuff. So, before taxi checklist, anti-ice is not required here. So TCAS, if I just pop it on 1, will that get rid of it? That will do. I'll just pop it on there. I don't know if it's supposed to be on here on the ground like that. I should really check the charts, but it doesn't matter. I just want it out the way. Right, so recall has been checked, and we're not getting any warning lights, which is good. Flight controls we've just checked, and the ground equipment, as you can see at the front, is cleared. So that is before taxi checklist complete. Lovely stuff. I don't think there's anything I've forgotten. I hope not. My mind's telling me that I have. Gosh, I can't even speak English, but what it is, I do not know. I guess we'll find out. Right, let's get this show on the road. Let's increase some power and get some left rudder out there to turn us round after that straight pushback. And we'll start our taxi. So we're going to be taking a left just here onto Juliet, as we are departing from 04, as I showed you a little earlier on. I'm still trying to get the hang of taxiing, and I'm still failing tremendously a lot of the time. I'm really not the best with taxiing. I don't know whether I still need to look at changing my rudder pedals and changing the sensitivity of them, or what I need to do. Now, somebody left a comment on a video the other day about, I think it was my Heathrow to Seattle 777 video, about the turning circle in this 777. And gave me some tips on where to turn, and I'm still naive to do it. I can't remember their name. I do apologise, but if you're watching this video, good sir, thank you very much for your comment. I'm sorry that I haven't replied to it yet. But I need to start to kind of be more confident with my turning in this 777, because the turning circle on it is just so large, and I need to be prepared, you know, for that massive swinging turn, and not jump the gun on when to put the rudder pedals in. Right, we are away from the apron now, so let's do our before takeoff checklist, which is simply flaps 15, and that is the before takeoff checklist complete. Hopefully it won't be long before the cabin is ready, not that we've really got a cabin, because we've just got a load of horses. But I guess we can pretend that we're taking all of their groomers with them or something as well. I have no idea. I'm assuming that they probably travel down on a separate flight. Look outside. Dirty wings on this Emirates, tell you that. Look at that. Grime everywhere. But still, such a fun aircraft to fly. And it's just nice to do kind of like a different route. I never imagined I'd be taking a Sky Cargo 777 from Stansted to Rio with horses in the back. But that's what I love about flight simulation. That's what I love about this, is that you can do these things, you know, kind of... I know it sounds really cliche to say that anything is possible, but you've got so many possibilities on what you want to do in the simulator that it gives you opportunities to do cool things like this and have a bit of fun and have a bit of a laugh. A lot of you know that I don't take myself too seriously when it comes to flight simulation. I don't do everything by the book. I don't do everything perfectly by any means. And so although I try and make good quality content, I don't claim to be the best simmer out there. I don't claim to have the best pilot skills by any means. My one goal with simulation is just to have fun. Back on the topic of the Olympics, I don't really know how well the British team did overall in eventing, because I think there's still more eventing going on. I think they got a silver in the dressage solo event the other day, if anybody knows what that is. But I know that in the team event, they actually did the worst that they've ever done since '96. Again, I saw it on a BBC News article that Great Britain have won a team event medal in the whole, like, you know, dressage, cross country and show jumping combined team event since 1996, and now suddenly this is the first year we've not done so. So a pretty disappointing you know, showing from the Great British eventing team, but we've got other horses on board, so we've got a lot of valuable cargo, we can say, which is just, you know, increasing the pressure that I do a nice landing once we reach Rio, I guess. Right, we're on hotel now, and here is the holding point for runway 04. So we will hold short. We won't just carry straight on, because we'll double check that everything's set with the aircraft and that we are good to go for our departure. Here we go. So I'll go to the second line there. 04 is identified on the signs. Got the flashing lights. That wasn't too much of a bad turn. Touch wood. Right. Let's just pop some toe brakes in and stop here for a second and make sure that we're ready for departure. Let's have a look outside. Here we are. There is the terminal and the cargo buildings behind us. Go back into the wing view and then back in to the flight deck. Righty-ho. So, TCAS can go fully on now, I might as well. Runway turn-offs can come on. Strobe lights can come on. And I'll turn the landing lights on. I'm also going to turn the taxi lights off. And I'll pop the nose lights on once we're fully ready and we're lined up, basically. Weather radar can go on as well now. And then we'll move forward. And as we enter the runway, I'll pop the clock on. Go. Nothing on the approach because we are flying offline today. And there's no ATC or traffic around anyway on VATSIM. I've checked at this time of night. It's absolutely dead. Here we go. Okay, well 05 apparently is identified according to RAS, so that's not exactly right. It's not a good time, but I can see the visual numbers 04. We're not on runway 05, my friend. We're on runway 04. Right. We are ready to go. So let's keep it rolling. There's no point in me stopping now. We'll keep the little momentum that we have from turning on there. All the lights are on. We are good to go. So let's take this baby off. Move the thrust up. Make sure that everything's looking stable. And here we go. Tow go. Here we come, Brazil. Okay, thrust is set. There is 80 knots. Rotate. Nice and gently back on the stick with our prize cargo that we've got in here. Up to 10 degrees, and then I'll pop it up a bit more. We've got a positive rate of climb, so gear can go up. I love that sound as the gear goes up. Brilliant stuff. Now, we've got this left-hand turn, which I'm going to take manually, so you guys can judge my flying skills, because usually I just whack the autopilot on, but I thought, you know, why not? Let's do this manually for this first left-hand turn here. Make sure everything goes okay. Here we go. Trying to follow the flight director as best I can. And I'm going to take flaps 10 now. Should be fine at that speed. I'm well off on the flight director. I was going to try and give you an outside view, but I think it's probably worth me staying and trying to handle this better. And because my nose is pitched down further than it needs to be, you'll see that my speed is higher than I want it to be as well. It's not the end of the world that I'm completely off it. I'm just trying to make it smooth. That's the main thing here now. There we go, speed's gone up, so I can go up to flaps 5. Sorry, up to flaps 1 now. And there we go. Slightly back on the flight director now. We've got that green arrow on the speed tape as well, so we're perfectly fine to take flaps 1 there. And then we're pretty much near on the flight director, so after that turn I will pop the autopilot in. There we go, look at the immersion of the aircraft. It does look absolutely amazing. Wow, what a view. Okie dokie. Right, there's 5,000 feet, so let's whack the altitude up now to our initial cruising altitude of 31,000 feet, and I will just make sure that goes in there and knock any of the annoying restrictions out of the way. Speed is up to 250, which is spot on perfect. That's where we want it to be, and I will bring out my range rings now because I don't need it so zoomed in. 6,000 feet is our transition, so I'll hover over standard on the EGSS. There it is, so standard pressure is set. We'll do the after takeoff checklist now, which is landing gear is up and flaps up as well, so the after takeoff checklist is complete. Put the runway turn-offs off because I don't need them on anymore. And we are on our way to Rio, safely up in the air. A nice smooth departure, not my best hand flying skills, but it's okay. And it's lovely weather, a bit hazy in the distance, but hey, this is Active Skies 16. I believe this is the first video I'm doing with Active Skies 16 actually. So I'll show you a quick shot from the GoPro view, as I call it, which is my favourite view in the aircraft. I don't know why, I just love it. But we are climbing nicely on our way out on the Compton to Sierra departure on the way to Rio. So I'll show you some nice shots on our climb and then come and join you when we're at cruise. Okay, welcome back to the flight deck. We have not long reached top of climb and we are on our way safely to Rio. Everything is looking good. We are just crossing the English border. If I bring up the navigation display, there is EGSS, which is Bournemouth Airport. So we are genuinely right on the southern coast of the UK, right down the middle pretty much. So there is Bournemouth just below us. Let's go and have a look outside. And I'm pretty sure that is the city or town of Bournemouth. I'm not too sure. It looks like there is the airport there. So we are leaving the UK far behind us now and on our way safely. Everything is looking good. We've had a safe climb. Hopefully you've enjoyed the views. And so I just thought I would check in with you all quickly at the start of this flight, as we've got a long way to go. I think it's just about 10 hours in total. It's now 12:54 Zulu and we're going to be landing at 23 Zulu. So if my math is correct, that's around about 10 hours of flight before we get down on the ground. So once again, I'll show you some more nice views as we head along the flight, and I'll see you near top of descent for our descent planning, ready to go into Rio. Okay, good morning ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the flight deck of Emirates 16 Romeo Oscar, as we are almost now at the end of our journey. 10 hours and 2 minutes since we started our engines, and 9 hours and 52 minutes since we entered the runway right the way back at London Stansted. We've got about 126 nautical miles till top of descent, so now is a good point to start to plan our arrival. I'll bring up Avrasoft once again on the screen, and here we are just entering Satbu is our next waypoint. And the arrival today, we're going to be going into runway 33 for by the Diva 1 Bravo decimal 33 arrival. And our final waypoint is Molsu, so that will be our transition. And you can see us heading down here to the south, and then it would be vectoring, but we've actually got a transition on the RNAV approach from the final waypoint of that arrival star of Vuruk, where we need to be above 4,000 feet. And so we can just take the RNAV approach on to 3-3. Afterwards, let's have a look at the actual airport itself. Hopefully we'll be able to get off at Delta. If not, I will try and get off at Charlie. Now, I know these are a bit weird because you've got kind of like a tight angle on that turn there, but I'm sure we'll be fine. So we'll try and get off at Delta. I somehow don't think we will, so we'll get off at Charlie and then taxi down on Bravo to Foxtrot, cross the runway 33 again, and then onto Juliet, and then onto one of these stands here. I'll try and go for 5. I think that will probably be the best bet. So there is our arrival. So without further ado, let's head into the FMC and go and plan that now. So into departures and arrivals, and here we go. We've got the stars and all of that lined up for us. Now it's the ILS. Gosh, this is going to be interesting. There's quite a lot on here. I believe it's the ILS X-ray for 3-3. Why hasn't it come up? Oh, sorry, it's the RNAV. Let me just double check that it's the X. Yes, it is the RNAV X for 3-3. Hopefully it will come up for me. Knowing me, I've missed it. Here we go. The RNAV X for 3-3 on the Diva 1 Bravo decimal 3-3, which is here. Molsu is the transition. That's the final waypoint in our flight plan, and then Vuruk is our transition as well. Hopefully that's all programmed itself in correctly. And just to double check it, we'll go to the plan page, bring our range right the way back, and then head to the legs page and just step through it like so. There we go. So it would be the vectoring here, but if I take that out, I don't know if it will actually let me take it out. Oh, sorry, I need to do it like this. I've been flying the Airbus a lot recently. It won't actually let me take it out. Let me have a look, see here. Oh, I think it's because it wants me to do so like that. Let me just have a look and see what that's done now. There we go, and then we'll get the direct there. So if I attach that in like so, you can see we'll go to Vuruk and then on to finals on the RNAV approach. So that is simple enough. Init ref page, we'll be taking a flaps 30 landing today. Let me put this back down. I don't like doing it when it's popped up like so. Yeah, so we'll be taking flaps 30 today, which gives us a flap speed of 143 knots. I'll go into the legs page and grab the runway, which is runway 33, and then we'll put some range rings around it. So I'll do /4 nautical miles, 9 nautical miles, and then 15 as well. Perfect. Next thing to do is to go into the descent page on VNAV and have a look and see what's going on here. Now, we've already done our forecast winds, but the transition level obviously would be set by ATC, but the transition altitude for departures is 7,000 feet. So I'm going to pop that in there because I don't know what the transition level would be, but we should be fine. I don't think it matters too much when I'm flying offline. Back onto the progress page. Auto brake level, the runway length, I believe, is 4,000 meters, if I'm not mistaken. 3,190, sorry. So I'll go with auto brake level 2 just to try and get us off that runway a little bit earlier. But the only other thing now that we need to do is to set our MDA decision height and our QNH and all of that lovely jazz. So MDA decision height for runway 33 on the RNAV is 527. That's the wrong one. So I will right click, hold it down. I hate the way you have to do this in the 777. It's so much easier when you can just scroll in the 737. Right, there we go, 527, and the QNH on the ground is 1011, which can get popped down there like so. Brilliant. So I don't believe there's anything I've missed. If there is, I will make sure to do it before our descent. Let's pop us back onto the map page now and bring that range dial back out again. I don't think I want it anywhere past 80. No, I don't. And I will do the same here. Brilliant. So we are now 87 nautical miles from top of descent. I won't join us back for descent. I will do the descent checklist myself and everything, just because it will save time. But I'll show some cool shots again as we start our approach into Rio, and then come back when we are onto our final arrival into the airport. So see you then. Okay, welcome back once again, and we are much further down in our descent now from last time. The powerful editing factor where I can just completely cut out sections of the flight to save you guys viewing time, but we've got about 41 nautical miles left to go. We're just going through 9,000 feet now. Seatbelt signs are on, logo and wing lights are on as well, and as are the landing lights, so I'll pop the runway turn-offs on when we are fully lined up and ready to go. You can see where we are now. Just approaching Divro in about 3 nautical miles or so, and then there is our arrival, 15 nautical miles back there, then 9, and then on to finals. So we've really not got too long on finals. I mean, we should be fully established once we are pretty much lined up onto the runway there with 4 nautical miles. You can see that green dashed ring around the edge of it. So really not too far to go. I will incrementally bring flaps down and everything as we go, but we are on our final approach, and let's hope we have a nice stable arrival into Rio. I have to say, the clouds are looking awesome down there at the second. We should have good visibility. We shouldn't have too much of an issue. But it does look awesome. I've been showing some views. Hopefully you guys have seen. Let's go to my GoPro view again and just see us through these clouds. And for those of you who are new to the channel and wondering, how does he get his clouds to look like that? What is all of this about? I use Rec Soft Clouds for my cloud textures. I use Active Sky 16 for my weather engine. And then I actually do have ASCA or Active Sky Cloud Art, but I only actually use it for the sky colours because I don't really like the cloud textures on it too much. So there you go. That is my magical process to get my clouds looking like they are. And if you do like the way they look, I do have a video showing you all how I set it up that way and how I got all of those 3 bits of software interacting with each other. So that is on my YouTube page if you do want to go and check it out. Anyway, enough self-plugging. Just going through 7,000 feet now. 33 nautical miles to go, and everything is looking good now. We're a tiny bit off our VNAV path because the PMDG is pretty rubbish when it comes to VNAV by the looks of things. Again, I've been talking to real pilots who also fly in the sim, and they say that PMDG do a very good job with the modelling and everything, and the realisticness, I guess, if that's the right term, of the aircraft, but VNAV isn't so much accurate as some other elements. Right, let's bring our range down on the NDs once again, and 7,000 feet, so I actually missed transition altitude, but there we go. 1011 is set, and I can go into our checklist now and do the approach checklist. So altimeters are 1011 set on both sides, just double checking the first officers. So that is the approach checklist complete. Beautiful view here in Rio. It's really stunning, and I love the night lighting. Unfortunately, this isn't Orbec's USA Open LC, which they've just released recently for obvious reasons, because we're not in the USA. Some people I've seen have got a bit mistaken by that, thinking that it covers like South America and Rio and or Brazil and everywhere like that as well, but no, it's just as far as I'm aware, it's just North America, just the USA and everything. But the ground still does look cool in my opinion. It looks like we're away from the clouds, so we should have a nice easy arrival in. 27 nautical miles to go, so I don't need to worry about flaps or anything like that at the second. I'll manually intervene with the speed and bring flaps down incrementally as we get closer, but for now we're absolutely fine. And it really does look lovely out there. I'm sorry that we're arriving at night. I know some of you will probably be annoyed that we're coming in at night and you can't see daytime, but we had a really nice, you know, daytime departure. I thought we'd maybe catch the sunset here because Rio is 4 hours behind the UK, and yes, I was evidently wrong. But still, it's nice to see the night lighting. You can see all of the stars there. It's lighting up the light sky, and then the hustle and bustle of Rio down below us. Descent rate is really slow at the second. We've got plenty of time to go. 23 nautical miles, and we're just through 5,000 feet pretty much. And then I'll take over manual control of the aircraft once we reach our kind of final approach fix of 1,200 feet, and I hope to be fully established by that point as well. Now, I do have a tendency to start to establish things early and maybe bring my gear down a bit early and stuff like that, but it's mainly just because I want to make sure that I am fully established for landing and good to go early, and we won't have any kind of last minute crop up problems. So if I do establish early and you're like, whoa, why is he slowing down early, why is he bringing flaps down earlier than you potentially would, then it's just the way that I fly. And so on that note, Let's slow down to 210 knots now. And we'll help our speed come down by selecting flaps 1. You can see on the upper ICAS display the flaps coming down. And 1 is selected, so we're good. Speed is coming down on the primary flight display as well. And you can see our arrival here. Here we go. Here is Vuruk, where we could be taking that left-hand turn and then vectoring ourselves onto final, but we just took the direct. Again, we are the only traffic here. There is Rio. We're not going in on that runway there. We're going to be turning around now, as we can see. Here's the left-hand turn. Speed coming back nice and smoothly. I'm not worried about speed brakes at the minute. I may utilise some in a tiny bit. But the winds are calm. We're looking at surface winds of 300 degrees at 2 knots. 18 degrees centigrade at the second. And of course that QNH of 1011 as we programmed in earlier on. Right, 15 nautical miles to go, so I'm going to bring my speed back down once again to 180 now. And we'll call flaps 5. Going to have a look outside and try and show you a view. Got a beach down there, flaps coming down, a bit of immersion on the on the 777 wing. Forgot what aircraft we were in there for a second. And then that gorgeous night lighting. Perfect. Hopefully everything's looking okay. For some reason, again, the VNAV's decided to have a laugh and just completely cut us off, and I don't know why it's wanting us to climb. But it's destroying things, so I'll go into manual vertical speed mode for the second. I'm not too sure what that could be that's doing that, but look, it's just completely put us off the VNAV path, so I'm going to have to manually intervene. I'll whack it down. I've probably gone over the top with that, but still. Wow, the city is alive. Going to use a bit of speed brake now just to help us slow down a tiny bit, because we've increased that vertical speed now after missing that VNAV path. It's just sped up the aircraft a bit, but we're pretty much back on now. Here we go onto the turn for finals. I'll pop VNAV back in and then do the speed intervene. I don't know why it's popped me back there, but we are about 10 nautical miles away now, so I'll pop my speed back to 160. And we'll call flaps 15 now, just to help with that speed coming down. It looks to all be fine. But here we go on the turn to finals. And we'll also go gear down. Bring the range down once again on here. Look at this approach. This is gorgeous. I'm very glad I chose to do runway 33 now. We've got the Rio skyline there in the background over the top of the bridge. I'm sorry, I'm not very good with geography again. I don't actually know what skyline that is. I guess that's pretty bad of me. Right, we'll go flaps 20 now. Speed's coming back absolutely perfectly. I'm actually a bit on the low side now, but that's fine. And I will set myself up, pop my feet on the rudder pedals, and get ready to control this aircraft. I'm actually going to bring myself down to about 1,000 feet, because I want to be on full finals by the time I take over control of the aircraft, really. And then we'll go to our final approach speed now. VREF +5, which is 148. I'll select flaps 25. Arm the speed brake as well. And then finally flaps 30 as well. Perfect. Absolutely beautiful. Spot on where we want to be. I'm not too sure why it's dragging us off so far like this. So I'll tell you what we'll do is we will disconnect the autopilot and then take over control myself. I'm wondering whether the RNAV is correctly programmed in there or something. I'm not too sure why it dragged us off to the right of the airfield like so, but hey ho, we'll take over control. A little high, but everything else is fine. And this is why I like to establish early, because I want to make sure that everything is in a good place. Our speed is back where it should be now. We've got speed brakes armed, full flaps and everything, and we're okay. We're just a little high by the looks of things. According to the flight director, we're bang on, but I don't somehow think that's true.
1,000.
And it feels like I've got a crazy crosswind dragging me across at the second, but I definitely don't. There's no wind coming up. So I'm very high, trying to keep that nose low, just watching the speed as well.
Approaching 3-3.
3-3 is identified, which is good. Why am I still so high? I've got like nose level. Minimums. I am going to continue. I probably should be going around here, but I'm sure we'll be absolutely fine.
300.
Trying to drag myself back round,
Sink
my
rate.
gosh. Here we go.
Sink rate.
We're fine.
Sink rate.
Hello.
50. 30. 20. 10.
My gosh. Midtown. That was interesting. Bring the nose back across now. Had to fully crab it there. That was a pretty interesting approach. I'm not too sure what happened there. We'll bring some reverses out just to help us slow down. No chance I'm getting off at Delta. 70 knots. Auto brake can be disarmed. 60 knots reverses can be stowed. Well, we got down safely.
Feet remaining.
I'm absolutely fine. Luckily, the touchdown was okay. Those poor horses in the back with our precious cargo. We're probably not enjoying that one. We got down safely, so let's exit at Charlie. But yeah, I'm not too sure why the Arnav approach completely took us off course on where we wanted to be there. That was very interesting. And we'll clean up the aircraft. APU can start up now. Bring the speed brake back in. Flaps can go up. Weather radar can come off as well. And there we go. Welcome to Rio, everybody. Our flight time was 10 hours and 37 minutes. So we were 2 minutes behind schedule. But that's okay. No, it was an interesting approach, though. And that's the thing. You know, like I could, you know, technically go back on FSU IPC and re-record that. But what would be the point? Because it makes things interesting. It makes things different than just a standard kind of approach. I don't quite get why we were so high. I think there's got to be something going on with the AFCAD files or something. If anybody knows, please let me know in the comment section below, because that was just weird. It was the way that when it lined us up for 3-3, we definitely weren't lined up with it. And then after that, we were high as well, even though on the flight director it was reading me as okay. So coming over the threshold was a bit interesting, but it seemed like a smooth landing all the same, so hopefully the horses in the back aren't too disturbed after my piloting skills, or lack of skills, should I say. Right, flight directors can come off now as well. I don't need them. And then, as I said, we're going to carry on down Bravo, and then take a right on Foxtrot and cross runway 33 again. Now for the fun part, though, is trying to see if GSX will work. I somehow don't think it's going to like any of these parking spots for me. No, it doesn't seem like it will. Parking 19 is ages away, as is parking 20 and everything. So that's a bit annoying, because I do want to see things deboard. But I don't want to go into the menu and stop it. But we'll head across anyway, even if I don't use GSX. And here's the scenery. As I said, it's not the best scenery in the world, but it still looks cool. It's definitely better than default. There's all the fire engines. And the fire station, which were probably on alert after my landing there. But a really nice flight overall, really smooth. And yeah, very nice to be safely down in Rio. Right, we are not taking a right there. It's not where we want to go. We are taking the second right, which is just up here. And then we can see the cargo kind of area straight ahead of us. APU is now running, which is good. Now I forgot to do the landing checklist, so I'm going to have to override that, but I'll override that once I've kind of finished cleaning up the aircraft and once we're parked up, because I can't really do it now. Right, here we go. So crossing on Foxtrot. Here's runway 33 again, where we literally just approached from. It was a really fun approach, despite the RNAV not being quite selected correctly and not being where I wanted it to be. It was still really fun, and it gave me a challenge, and that's the fun thing about it, I guess, is that it gives you something to do. It gives you something to think about than just a straight ILS and taking over when you're fully established and bang on where you need to be at 1,000 feet. Which, don't get me wrong, is very good, and I do enjoy doing that, but hey-ho, if something goes wrong as a pilot, you've got to be prepared to get ready to fix these kind of issues. Okie dokie, so yeah, unfortunately no GSX for this, but we'll carry on, and we will park up just up here. I think I'm going to aim for stand 5. That's what I talked about a little earlier on, which I believe is just the stand over here. I'm not too sure where the lines are. It looks like it could be this yellow line here. So I'm going to turn my runway turn-offs off now, and I'm also going to turn my taxi light off because we are approaching onto the stand. Yep, here we go. So stand 5. Again, unfortunately no GSX. But apart from that, we're safe. Pop in some right rudder now to turn us safely onto stand. Brilliant. Try and get it as precise as I can. And there we go. That will do. Right, parking brake is set. Engines can go to cut-off now. And welcome everybody to Rio. 10 hours and 51 minutes exactly was our block time. And we are fully down and safe on the ground. Let's pop the dome light on now so we can actually see what we are doing here. And I'll turn the seatbelt signs off for everybody in the back. And the horses are safely down. Hopefully, again, that landing was okay and they didn't incur any injuries. Oh yeah, the parking is too small. I tried to use GSX, but of course it's not going to work here. I may try and change those settings and stop the recording and everything. Right, okie dokie. Let's get rid of the hydraulics because we don't need them anymore. So I'll turn all of those off. And we'll go into the third FMC down here. Go to ground connections. Set the wheel chocks on. Now that the wheel chocks are there, I think actually I'll leave the parking brake on just for a second. We can open up the doors. So we can open these guys. Cargo aft can get opened as well. And then I'll just go onto the door page and double check that those are open, which they are. Good. And then we'll go back onto the checklist. So I'm going to do the checklist override on here because we didn't do the landing checklist because we had so much going on. But here we go, the shutdown checklist. So hydraulic panel is off. Fuel pumps is my next thing. Fuel pumps are off. Parking brake is set at the second. Fuel control switches are on cut-off and the weather radar is off. So that is the shutdown checklist completed. What I'll do now is actually pop the door page up the top there. And I'll pop ourselves on the stat page for now on a second. We can release the parking brake because we've got the wheel chocks in place. And then we've got external power. And so I will pop us on the external power and then we'll shut down the APU. And hopefully you guys can hear that in the background. If I just bring up the page, here we go. You'll be able to see the APU turning itself off in a second. It's in the cool down phase. There we go. Down goes the RPM. Down goes the oil pressure, the oil temperature. Perfect. So we're all good. I don't think there's anything I've missed. TCAS. I did miss something. I knew I would miss something, but at least it's nothing absolutely crazy crucial. Right, we'll go back onto the checklist again and do the secure checklist. Now, it's only us. We're not going to be doing any more flying today, so we can do the secure checklist. And so I can turn the ADRUs off now. I don't need them anymore. The emergency lights can get turned off. And the other thing is the packs. Brilliant. So emergency lights. Is it off? Why is that not doing anything? Oh, it's because I closed down the shutter. And then, yeah, packs are off. And that is the secure checklist completed. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Safely down on the ground at Rio. Interesting final approach, but fun all the same. I thoroughly enjoyed doing that RNAV. As I said, I really liked the way that the bridge came up and you could see the high city line of Rio around you and everything. And we managed to sort it out. Again, Probably if I was taking things very uber seriously, I should have gone around in that situation. But I thought we were okay, even though it said we were high and it came up with a sink rate warning. Who cares? We landed safely, and the crabbing was quite fun. It certainly provided a challenge, and so I hope you enjoyed watching it instead of just a standard, boring kind of ILS approach into the airport. So we're on the ground now. I've managed to get GSX working for me, even though the kind of ground textures aren't completely correct, and you can see that GSX is actually clipping the floor. We are down safely, and there is our highly expensive cargo deboarding as we speak, and I'm just going to pretend that they are all fine and ready to go for the Rio Olympics. Here we are on the ground. Nice bit of scenery. It does the job. Weather's nice and clear, which is what we like. And there we go. Emirates 16 Romeo Oscar safely on the ground in Brazil. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, please leave a like. Comment as well. Let me know if you guys would like me to do any flights, any specific aircraft and things like that as well. And also, it'd be really appreciated if you could subscribe to the channel again. I'm sure I'll be back with another full flight video soon. I apologise that it's been so long since the last one, but I've really enjoyed recording and making this one. So hopefully I'll do another one soon for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.